So I feel like, I shuffle, to be honest. I do shuffle. But most of the time I'm here and this is my base, right? But I feel like I was in the UK for a lot of the earlier part of this year. I was in London. It's exciting, but I don't know. There's just no place like home. Like if this country worked, I don't know where anybody else to go anywhere. And I feel like everyone will still go overseas and come back home. And and I see that in a developing country, there's so many opportunities, right? Because there's still so many things that have not been developed and grown. And I see the possibility. And I know that it can be difficult, like doing business in Nigeria. Oh my God. It's like a extreme sport in itself. But I feel like this is where I feel like I'm able to have the most impact, and I want to impact my people. And I feel like being on the ground is essential to that, at least to a huge capacity, right? Not necessarily all the time, but most of the time. Yes.
That's good to know. That's good to know. I mean, it's a season of Japa for many, and when we
Ah.
see, there is this thing about the road less traveled, you know, by the very few, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, by so many people, you will see a situation whereby people are actually going this way, but meanwhile, very few are facing the opposite direction. And I think it's really worth it if you actually take this on as much as you can, because this is where the real development happens. The kind of story you just shared about the young man, you couldn't have shared it if you were in that comfort zone in the US. Or
No, I couldn't.
if you had
Yeah.
all the money and you were sending, it's a different story altogether. But being in the midst of the heat itself and making things happen, having your hands on the grind and ensuring that these things happen. I mean, you just sat down now and there was that blackout and it came back, and being able to have that grit to carry on. So I think that is basically
Yeah.
the life we are all facing. And
Right.
somehow, when the story actually, transforms in future for the better, we will be able to all look back and say, yes, it was worth our while collectively.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Amen. Because we need it.
So to the next question. So whether it's in your, no, that's number 6, whether it's in your career or in your initiatives to give back to society, your primary focus appears to be on education. Keeping in mind what many of our youths have been saying for some time now, that education is a scam. How important will you say education is for a society's socioeconomic development?
Ooh, extremely important. I think that when you're talking about, development, education is there, health is there, and health and education are interconnected, right? Because for you to have good healthcare, those people have to be educated to help, to understand. And so it still ties back to education. Education being a scam, I mean, I think that we're definitely in a society where you don't have to get an education, right? For you to do well now, there are a lot of jobs where you pick up your camera and you can be successful, right? But I think that, like, I feel like Nelson Mandela said it best. Like, education is the most powerful tool you can use to change the world. And I saw firsthand, like, when my dad passed away, my mom wasn't educated. Like, I don't know where we'll be, right? If she was just sitting on the sidelines, didn't have an education, say, oh, she married a wealthy, life happens, things happen, right? And but she was his peer, so she was ready to pick up where he left and maybe even do better than he could have even done for us if they were together, right? She did excellently. So I saw firsthand how education like saved my family, and we didn't have to, because she has it. She has that PhD. Absolutely no one can take it away from her. No one. It's hers. And it's hers to build on and build whatever she needs to build on it to for her livelihood, for her family, and for the environment and community. So I think that education is definitely not a scam. I've never related to it. I think that, wow, you don't have to have an education to be successful. I think that having an education builds some kind of discipline and perseverance. And, because when you're in class, you're studying, there's some challenges you're going to face with courses, and being able to, like, I remember, like, I was never the best at math, and I blame anyways, let me not put this on interview. Never mind, I won't blame anybody. I'm going to stop myself. I'm going to stop myself. I'm going to stop myself. They won't read it and say, wow, Bimpe. So I'll just stop.
That's fine.
I wasn't the best at math, right? But in the US, everyone was required to take 1 English, 1 math, 2 sciences, 3 social sciences. And what this did was, because sometimes you're going to school, we're very young. Like, I went to school 16. I really know what I wanted to do. Probably not. Probably not. But what that does is it exposes you. You get to dabble. Someone can come in thinking, I want to be an architect. And then you take an economics class and you love it. And the best thing about America is that you can have a double major, right? So you can be bored, or you can minor in 1. Or guess what? If you plan yourself properly, you can actually do 3, right? Which is amazing. And so the challenge that you get from education, the challenge that you get to sometimes take a class that, like, I took statistics and I thought I was going to fail. I was so worried. It was a 4 credit. I was like, oh, it's going to pull down my GPA. But I was like, you know what? I'm not failing this class. It's me and this class, right? And one of my best friends, I would be in her room every day. She was my tutor. Let's go. And I got an A. And that challenge and that ability to overcome it in that setting, you don't usually necessarily get it. And you're getting this at a young age, and it gives you that confidence in yourself. So when you have education, you are more confident because you're more informed. You've probably gone through ups and downs, and you've had challenging situations that you overcame, and you realize that it's not the end of the world. As long as there's life, there's hope. So you're able to face things on, and you have also probably been in a social setting, and that has also helped your communication, team building skills. Are these things you can probably learn out of an education? Probably, but I find that it's probably one of the best places to get that, right? In addition to a degree that can open doors for you, right? And networks, right? So definitely education is not a scam. It develops so many skills: communication, presentation, team building, resilience, right? When that class you're struggling and you're so sure you're going to fail, and somehow you push yourself and just get a C. You are so proud of your C. It's like an A+ to you, because you know the effort you put to get it. That kind of thing. I feel like you're almost not going to get it anywhere else, right? So
awesome. I mean, just from what you've said just now, and your story really, if you look at everything, how your family's turned out, it can only be God, all right? How your family turned out after your dad. But also, again, that singular thing that played out, that was that tool, that thing that helped you, or not to, yes, there will have been those moments of pain and all of that, but really not to actually, feel much of the impact eventually in the midst of how you all ended up, is basically education.
right.
It's very, very, very critical, and that's part of why we're here, and that's part of why EduTimes Africa is actually in existence, because that thing needs to be preached. All right. So let's go to the next question. So now, number 7. Many of the individuals who you help with scholarships to study abroad may decide to remain abroad after their studies. So is Nigeria not losing in that sense?
I would say yes and no, just because so many research and studies have shown that, when you're in the diaspora, a lot of the money you're making is being sent home. And so that money is actually helping the development of the country, right? Because now that is also foreign, and now where we are with foreign exchange, if someone gives you $100, it's not like before. It's like that's about $100K, right? not to talk less of pounds, right? And so that is being sent to a lot of their families, it's going into the livelihoods, it's going into the development. These people now have access to more money. These people are more likely to be able to visit quality healthcare or hospitals, are more likely to have things like health insurance, more likely to have a better standard of living, right? So there's that part. But there's also the brain drain part as well. But it's in two folds, because I have found that some people are here and they are not contributing, and they are not going to contribute. And so it's not everyone that is thinking like, oh, I want to live somewhere better than I left it. No, many people are on the mindset of I suffered, so you should suffer, which for me is wild, because that's part of why I started Edward Consulting, is because like going to the US, I experienced a lot, right? A lot that shaped me, made me stronger. Some of it I didn't have to have experienced it, but because I experienced it, I want to make sure that other Africans don't. But there's that, oh, let's suffer. So I feel like some people are not going to contribute, whatever society they find themselves here or not. So those kinds of people, is it really a loss to Nigeria? There's that. And then there's the part of, I have a lot of friends that have a bunch of initiatives or businesses or things they're doing in Nigeria, and they will not have been able to set those things up without the education that they have overseas, right? So I've also seen how that comes back and helps the economy and helps provide jobs, helps, with income and things like that. And in addition to that, I think that there's also not a lot of them, and you won't hear them, they are not noisy, but there's a small fraction of people that are giving back, whether they are there or not, and their plan is to come back. Now, I won't say those people are part of the Japa crew, because there's Japa crew, and then there's like, I want better for myself so I can do better for my environment. There's calibers of people, and I feel like those people, like I have friends that are now able to do a lot more because of the access and opportunities they have overseas, and they have businesses, initiatives here, and so on. So I feel like it goes both ways. But when it comes to studying overseas, it's always been there. My parents went for their PhD before I could speak. I'm not even sure what year they finished, right? And so it's always been here. And even in the US, there will be people that will go to UK to study abroad. Is the US not fantastic? People will go from the UK, people will go from Ireland. So it's always going to be there. And I think that exchange of culture is so important, that exposure. But I feel like someone that wasn't going to be helpful to their society is not going to be helpful, regardless of whether they are here or there.
Very correct.
Yeah.
Very correct. Yeah. So thank you so much for that. On the average, it's not a loss, Mr. Daps, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say that's a wonderful point you made about the fact that there are many people here who have no interest in contributing to Nigeria. You understand? I mean, whether they're here or they go to the US or they go to England, they have no interest at all. I mean, they're contributing nothing to the country's development or progress. So I never thought about that before. It's a very good, it's a very valid point.
Yeah.
It's a very valid point.
Very
Thank
valid.
you for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very valid. All right. So to the next question. That's number 8. In your profile, you make mention of a couple of other countries aside from Nigeria, Ghana and Uganda. Do the services of Edward Consulting extend to those countries too?
Yeah, so we love all Africans. We're pro-African in this organization, and and we are, I think that I see a lot of things that are for Africans.
Feel free, you can loud it, eh?
I see a lot of things that are for Africans that are not by Africans, and I wanted to set something up because I feel like sometimes those things are not in our best interest, right? There's always, some kind of hidden agenda. And so I just want Africans to excel. I want us to do well. I want us to have the access to knowledge. I want someone to go overseas that might be the person that solves cancer, that is a major killer, because now there's no cure, but who knows, through research, knowledge, what can happen in a few years. I want better for Africans. I want Africans to be in places and platforms making decisions. I don't want us to be having this inferior complex of, oh my gosh, like I want us to be exposed. And it's with exposure where when you get exposed, you realize that there's no place better than home, low-key. and I think like that's also why I'm here. But there are sometimes places where there are systems in place that work and life can be easier. But there are challenges in every society. There is no society that is perfect. You just have to be able to deal with the challenges you will face. Some you live okay, but it's also bills. Bills. Some there will be some kind of discrimination or racism you'll be dealing with. Like it's just the truth, right? And so for me, I just want Africans to excel. I don't want us to be behind. Those numbers that they say, say 50% of Africans are hungry. Oh my God, I hate it. Absolutely hate it. So all Africans, but for right now, we've worked mostly with Nigerians because I'm in Nigeria and I'm Nigerian. Ghana loves education as well. So we have a lot of Ghanaians in the house. We have like a few Uganda, Rwanda, and I think for us, it's not even about expanding. We just want to be able to reach more Africans wherever they are, right? And we've also had a few Africans in the diaspora. So we've had like Africans that are Ethiopian and American as well, right? So we've had those kinds of combinations as well. So yeah, we're just rooting for all Africans and trying to do our best to just make sure that everybody, when they meet us, they're living the best version of themselves. And I think what is so exciting about us is like when people are done with us, they're like, oh my gosh, Bimpe, I'm such a better writer. I'm like, yes, because you're going to write essays, so we'll write it together. It will be written by force, right? Like, I'm such a better writer. I am able to present myself better because guess what? Some Africans are doing amazing, but communication is poor, presentation is poor. And who gets the job, who gets opportunities? The person that can best communicate. Doesn't mean that they actually know what they're doing. So that ability, right? So one of the services we provide is interview prep, which is for MBA. And it's just prepping them. Like when they say, tell me about yourself, what do you mean? How do you answer questions? How do you break it down? How do you connect it? And these things translate into their classes. And they're like, oh, wow, Bimpe, I gave a presentation in school. My teacher was like, she liked how the system I used. And I said, what consulting? I was just like, oh, Bimpe. And those are the kinds of things that make you happy because this is something that somebody has learned that is going to continuously improve their lives, right? Not just for working with us, but continuous and allow them to be better. So supporting all Africans.
Awesome, yes. Mother Bimpe. I mean, the truth is that I was reading somewhere that boundaries that the colonial masters more or less created boundaries for us in Africa, even though we had common tribes. You see someone else across the boundary that is speaking just like you, saying things just like you, but they just created a boundary such that they divide you guys and you see yourselves against one another. And over time, it's divided us more than uniting us.
Yes,
and the AU was created for as an organization to unite us again. But somehow they just can't do it, or they couldn't do it all this while. So really, when we do things like this conversation we're having and the work you're doing now, reaching out, across borders, it's actually one of those things that can actually bring back the unity that we so much desire to have as Africans. It's one of those things that would now be able for us to be able to tell our stories as a common Black group or Black society, and be able to speak for ourselves. And rather than raising guns against one another, we'll be actually, bringing up love for one another. And, so, I mean, good work, good job.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think I just want to add something to what you said. I think that a lot of us suffer from a scarcity mentality where it's like you or I, when it doesn't, when it's not true. Is
Mm-hmm.
I pass through that door so I can open the door for more people like me to climb up. But it's like, oh no, there can only be one African in this. Like, who decided that? So for me, I want to break the door. Let's just all run out.
Just it. You know.
Yeah. So
that is so true.
Again, to add to that, you have a candle that is not lit. I have one that is lit. By lighting your candle, it doesn't diminish or it doesn't end up, blow out my own candle. So the moment we actually understand these things, it makes us better. And someone was saying not long ago that, look, I mean, Nigeria rising and becoming that superpower within Africa does not actually, stop any other country from actually, following suit or becoming their own power in their own rights as well. Right. As a matter of fact, it actually helps any other country in Africa to.
It helps the whole continent. Exactly. I think it's Nigeria. I think it might be Angola. There are 3 countries that if they do not grow, Africa doesn't grow. You would say Africa didn't grow, even though if you check and go and check the statistics, you see that Kenya did grow. Yeah, but there are 3 countries that are strong enough to pull down the whole continent growth for Africa. I can't remember what the 3rd one is right now. Yeah.
So really, thank you so much for that as well. I mean, so it's about Africa, and that's why we are EduTimes Africa as well. Yeah. So now to number 9. One must commend you and your outfits, Edward Consulting, for the immense strides you have made in just 4 years to secure $12.9 million USD in scholarship funding is no joke, let alone in just 4 years. What would you attribute this level of success to?
Okay, so I think it's a couple of things. I think that one is because I have been in the position of an international student from age 16, had my formative years there. I understand what they're looking for as an international African student. I understand what they need. And so I'm able to better understand or best understand their needs. That's 1. 2, I think as someone that has been a recipient of multiple scholarships, I think also having done those applications and being on the other side, I know what it takes to get that. Everybody likes money. Everybody loves money. Like, oh, scholarship, it sounds so exciting. It's a lot of work. And I'm very real. I keep it real. It requires work. You have to put in the work. When you put in the work, you most times reap the result. But sometimes, every once in a while, there are situations where it still doesn't click. That's life. That is life. Sometimes the best people, the people that show up, they don't get the early bird gets the worm. Sometimes the early bird doesn't, right? Sometimes there is no worm. The worm is in the ocean. It's gone. So I think that, like I said, 1, just having been an international African student, 2, having been a scholarship recipient, and then 3, just really being passionate and really caring for people to actually excel, because I always say that, like, I go above and beyond, like, I'm not paying enough for this. And like, I carry it on my head. Like, if you come and say you want to go to school and you have changed your mind, I feel bad for you. You go. And you must get that money. And if you're having second thoughts, I will cancel you and you will regret it. You must be successful by force. Like, I'm always telling them, don't start what you can't finish, because you're not going to waste my time. We are going to have something to be proud of and celebrate by force. So having that kind of passion where, like, even on the days that clients are feeling overwhelmed, you're able to be like, okay, it's all right. You're able to be supportive and be there for them. And I think also just developing like a niche where you understand what it takes to submit a strong competitive application that has the ability to yield substantial scholarships, and creating like processes, internal processes and structures around that, so that you're having that continuous effect while still personalizing each person's application. Because there's never one size that fits all. Every client is different. You have different profiles, different experiences. So you have to speak to their strengths, but there's still internal processes that are consistent. So I have kind of over time, figure out what is needed, what is expected to be able to have that niche. And I would say, like, finally, just having like a support system. In some ways, I've been fortunate to have good team members. In other ways, I've not. Depending on the day you ask me, but I've had like some really supportive. Like, I would give a special mention to my colleague Babatunde. He was very instrumental in Edward Consulting's growth. Like, when he came to us, he wasn't at the capacity he was, but I can see when someone can be their best self, and I'm able to be a good leader and support his growth. But not everybody is able to build that capacity, and he's like Bimpe 2.2. I say it's better to have Babatunde than me, as far as I'm concerned. Babatunde is my boss. But so just having good team members, right, that you can rely on, you can feel like they get it, they understand it, and are as committed and passionate as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well done. I mean, the truth is that you never can tell how far things would go, and you only get things started. Those that join you along the journey are the inspiration that actually, take you further and take you to the heights that you really desire. So well done on that. So now to the next question. That's will be number 10. I want you to educate us a little, because I, for one, have always thought of the USA and to a lesser degree, Canada, as the countries that offer meaningful scholarships. But we have learned that you secure scholarships for studies at UK universities too. Is that common, and are they as generous in their scholarship offerings? What about Germany? Yeah, although you mentioned about Germany.
Yes. So I would say that the most generous country is the US. It's also the hardest. So I feel like if you can crack the US and be successful, you can crack anywhere. Because if you look at quality education, if you're looking at top 10, top 20, most are US schools, and you see some UK, right? You see the Oxford, Cambridge, but most of us, you will see the Harvard, you see so many US schools. So I think US is the most generous. And I think it's also because most US schools, they don't put a cap on scholarship, where if it's strong, you have strong SATs, you have strong GREs, your essays are telling a story, you're connecting, all the things come together, and they feel you deserve a merit scholarship, they will give you one. But a lot of UK schools, they have a quota. So they might have 5, 10. So that makes it even more competitive, right? And it now makes a situation where exceptional people may not still get that scholarship. So you not getting a scholarship doesn't mean you're exceptional. There are only 5 they are giving to an incoming class of 5,000. You can't take it to personal. It's not, So I think that UK has some great scholarships. Like, we have clients now that are attending Oxford on a scholarship. We have clients that have gotten into LBS, which is the highest ranked business school, London Business School in the UK. There are scholarships there. I think it's just about US has more, and I think it's about understanding what those schools are looking for, right? And being able to tailor your application to that scholarship, or making sure, 1, you're a good fit, and then 2, having a compelling story and application to accompany that. When it comes to Germany, so we haven't done much Germany. I would say that we really, for applications, really US, UK, Canada, and I would say Spain and France, because they have some really good top MBA programs like INSEAD and ESA, but not necessarily for other programs. Germany is an outlier, where I had a client that applied to US, UK schools, and she wanted to apply to this German scholarship. And I was like, you know what? Why not? And I really believe that if you can do US and have success, you can do anywhere. And so we've done one German application, and that one we did yielded 100% scholarship with stipend. So I was very proud. That's one of my proudest applications, because when you're confident in yourself, but you dig into the deep end and am I sure I can swim? I know I can swim, but should I be starting the deep end? So I was very proud of that. So it's that German supported scholarship that comes with everything. But it's just that one. And us not doing Germany is not because we don't want to do Germany, is we do places based off of demand. So Germany has not been a demand. And when someone is saying they want to do Germany because it's not like our typical place, I would have to look and see if I feel like it will be successful based off of many things. And if I think we have a good shot, because I don't want to waste anyone's time. Don't want to waste my time, but I don't want to waste their time either. So very honest about that.
Amazing. That's amazing. So the scholarships that you've gotten within this category, within the 12.9 million, can be considered to be across the different university studies from undergrad to PhD.
Yes,
is that correct?
Exactly. Yes. So it's a situation where undergrad from the school, from scholarship recipients like Rotary Peace Fellowship, the Joint Japan. So different kinds of scholarships. There's internal, which is coming from the school. So University of Manchester giving the scholarship. And then there's the external coming from the body. So we've gotten all. And I think for me, it's just amazing because a lot of the other educational consulting firms, what they do is partnerships. They partner with schools and they have limited partnerships. And if you look at the ranking of a lot of the schools, not to throw shade, it's just truth. When you look at the ranking of a lot of schools, they are not the best ranked schools. And typically when you're using them, you're only limited to that. But for us, we want to come and say, I want to go to Harvard. And we're like, let's go. If we feel it is a realistic goal. If it's not, I also keep it honest. I say, maybe about this top 10, maybe we do top 25 because, it's not a realistic, I believe in taking risk, but the risk has to be calculated and it has to make sense. So very honest, right? So where we know nobody in these schools, no connections. We work with someone and we can just get them into any school based off of the merit of the work that we submitted. So I'm very proud to be able to do that. And I'm not saying partnerships is a problem. Nope. Partnerships that align with your mission, partnerships that still prioritize your client. Your client should be the most important partner, right? You can't have a partnership that doesn't align with the client's goal, but because you're going to get a commission, it has to make sense. So, yeah.
That's
so I wanted to build something that stood on its own, and then now carefully selected partners that align not just with our mission or goals, but our values, because you don't want to be working with somebody and you find them to be suspicious.
I agree. Very true.
So, yeah.
Very true. Also, thanks for that. So, to the next question now. So we just have two of them to go. So number 11, your NGO, Kinect, has been featured in the famous Huffington Post in the US. Please tell us about it. What does Kinect do?
Okay, so Kinect is actually a play on two words. It's kindred and connected. So it's like, that was how we set up that name. And the whole point of Kinect was me and my partner, Dami Shobo-Smith. We started Kinect because we wanted to have an organization that supported volunteerism. So instead of having another NGO doing something, we wanted to support volunteerism and support NGOs and help them be more effective. So a lot of our initiatives involve partnerships with local NGOs in impoverished or low-income communities, where we go there, we do work with those NGOs because, one, they understand the environmental. We're not just going to Makoko and say, what is this chair? We speak with them, we discuss, we understand the needs, and based off of that, we're able to support that organization, support that community. So we've been doing Connect now since 2014. Even during COVID, there was Connect. We wore our masks. We had to reinvent it during COVID because we had this initiative on the day before Christmas. And I think for me, it was Connect has kind of filled a void in my life, because I think that with my dad passing on the 25th, our Connect Christmas event is to be 24th. I was so consumed with Connect that I didn't even remember, like, oh my gosh, there's this thing lingering, because I was planning, doing stuff, and just sharing Christmas cheer and, just love, and you're focused on external stuff. You don't have time to be thinking about yourself or how you're feeling, right? And that was really great. So it really has transformed Christmas for me, where like now I can't imagine Christmas without Connect. But before, when I thought of Christmas, it was mostly like my dad. So in the past, we would go to a community, work with a local NGO, support that community, all kinds of things, food, clothes, toys. We'll get toys from the US, give it to the kids, clothes. Like, it was always so fun, books, and party, turn up, dance, and everything. And so we used to do that every Christmas, right? And then COVID happened, and you can't be around crowd. So we're like, okay. But before COVID happened, we also started to do some other initiatives. One of them was we noticed that there were kids in Lasut in Ikeja, the Lasut hospital, that were probably not getting care because they didn't have money. So we set up something for about a year, where for every month we paid the hospital bills of 10 children. If a child got discharged, we had another child on roster, and we had a partnership with a pharmacy that would allow us. Sometimes they'll say, oh, this child needs this medicine, and you say, oh no, they don't need it, and usually they won't collect it back, but because it's us, they will switch it, because they can say that it's not been opened. So we had that kind of connection with a clinic or a pharmacy nearby, and we were just able to help these children get healthcare and some of these things that who knows what might have happened, because someone cannot treat their malaria, like somebody's going to die because they don't have money, a child, like just stuff. So that was really great. So we did that, and then COVID happened, so that kind of stopped because everybody was scrambling. And then when COVID happened, now we started doing hospital initiatives where we partner with Lasut and Luth for the past like 2-3 years. And recently there was a newly opened children's clinic. I think it's called Massey Street Children Hospital in Lagos Island, where we went to the hospitals to find out like who are the kids that are going to be here during Christmas. We got their ages, and we were able to buy clothes, books, toys appropriate for those ages. So it was like the box would be like, boy, 8 years old, 6 years old, 2 months old, 6 months old. So very tailored. And then we went to the hospital and gave it to the kids, and the moms are so happy because you're spending your Christmas in the hospital, and they are so depressed, and it's not the ideal situation. So we've been doing that. So Huffington Post, we got a pollination project grant. I think it was when I was about to start something at Duke. So I think that was 2016. We got a pollination project grant just for some of the work that we were doing, and we're able to use that to just be more impactful. Yeah.
That's awesome. Amazing journey, amazing stories. I mean, talking about the Christmas celebration. So that's what you do during your Christmas now.
So we usually have like 2 or 3. We have that every Christmas for sure. And then we have some other activities over the years. So over the years, we've done a couple of things. We've done partnerships with Women International. We did a partnership with another organization that focuses on women's domestic violence, and we supported them and helped facilitate our program. That was something in 4 Point. We've also done like last suit, we helped renovate the children's play area in the hospital so that when they are playing, they have new books, nice chairs, and that way they are not like dealing with one-off things. We also have something that is about to go on right now. I'm just but yeah, so we try and have Sorry, excuse me.
Sorry about
Thank
that.
you. So we have the Christmas is a staple for sure. And then we have other initiatives that we're involved in over the years, a lot of partnerships, a lot of like NGOs saying, hey, we're doing this, but we don't have the capacity. So then I will come on and help. So one of that, I helped work with them on the program design, brainstorming, how it should be, choosing the recipient of, I think so, a girl won like 1 million. There was some presentation. I was a judge. Just so a lot of supporting other NGOs to be more efficient, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So we've done a lot of those kinds of projects as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. So to the very last question, the last but definitely not the least, can you give us a peek into some of the future plans for Bimpe Femi Oyewo?
This is a hard one.
In your career and in your
Yes.
volunteer work, what does success look like to you? So that's like 2, 3 in one question.
I think that success is having like positive results and being impactful, as well as being happy, honestly. I know people don't really equate happiness and success together, but I think it's just like happiness that might come from fulfillment from some of the work you're doing, and that where your life is at, or the steps that you've taken to get to where you are. So I think, that's what success means to me. I think is having a wider reach, reaching more people, right? Both through my nonprofit, Connect, and through Edward Consulting. And for future goals, I think that honestly, I have a lot of big goals. I love big goals.
To be a Ford Foundation.
What do you say?
To be as big as Ford Foundation.
Oh, yes. And to also be able to, I think, to reach a wider audience, right? Just in general for Africans, and have more reach, more impact. Also have more people be a recipient of the Edward Adefemi scholarship that really helped, that young boy that is now like my colleague, right? Since he's an intern, I guess he's my colleague. And so things like that, growing the business, growing our brand, as well as having more reach. So having more reach for me will be things like where, like, I recently put out an online course, having more of that for people to access things like that and just have a wider reach. And I think, like, eventually, like, I want to make sure that Africans, like, I think for me, is what breaks my heart is someone may have done the work, they've done everything, showed up, and then they get a great amount, but what is outstanding is 10K, but 10K to them is like life-changing money, and someone can go because of 10K and they've gotten into like MIT. Oh my God, that's the worst for me personally. So I want to be in a place where I'm connected to all the Tony Illuminus and the people that are big on youth development, and I'm sitting there and we're able to earmark money for people like that have shown up and done the work. And it should not be because of 5K or 10K, that this opportunity that is life-changing, giving only 2 people, should not go. I want to be able to say, okay, Dangote, how much money are you giving for the Nigerian kids? How much money? And then we're able to give it to them, right? And we know we won't be like 100% scholarship, because that's where Edward Consulting comes in, right? But that sometimes that 5K is like money that someone can't even imagine. Yes, it's like, oh my God. And now with this exchange rate, God knows what that money is now like. True. Exactly. So I want to be able to sit in rooms like that I can be at the forefront making decisions to make sure that those people have access. Those people, all that work, all that effort doesn't go down the drain, right? And there's earmarked money for them. If you show up, do the work, there's the results, there's some backing. Okay, where can we meet you, right? And that's like ultimately where I want to be. So yeah, be the person like giving the money in addition to helping them get the money. right? And building partnerships that allow us to like maximize our impact and our reach. Yeah.
Awesome. Amazing stuff. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I would say that, I mean, this is an evening that is so well spent, you know, with Bimpe. And if you looking at the entire conversation that we have had, it now tells us more of why we are all in the education space, you know, because the truth is that that is the single point that connects business and charity together. So if you look at it, you look at it that if business is going to happen in terms of making money to make that little profit or big profit as the case may be, yes, it can do that, you know. And also in terms of you actually making impact, just like you've rightly said and talked about what, you know, the charity jobs that you're doing and all of that. It also shows that, you know, you can actually impact lives through that, and you can do a lot, you know, transform lives and help people to actually get to where they never imagined, you know.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
This is awesome. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Mr. Daps, you want to add to that?
Yes, I want to say this. Yeah, I mean, you're doing a great thing, really. And that's what you said about you know, some people missing opportunities to go to the Harvards and the MITs of this world because of $5,000, $10,000. Meanwhile, maybe the total fees maybe $70,000, and they're going to give them 50 or 60, and there remains 10, and just because of that 10 they can't go, it's really painful. Of course, it's extremely painful, and I'm sure there are quite a lot of people in that sort of case, in that sort of situation, even more now because of the exchange rates. You know, so for you know, for somebody to be able to be there to make a difference, to make that happen, then that would be incredible. You said something actually, which touched on something that I've spoken about, I've asked people about in interviews, which is that I think we need more Nigerians. In fact, the professor of the vice chancellor of University of Witwatersrand mentioned this, and he said that he feels that Africans need to start investing a bit more on African education. Maybe taking a little bit less to invest in Harvard and invest in MIT, but to invest in Nigeria itself. And what he was saying about that, look, he said, people may argue with me and probably disagree with me on this, but I feel that there are enough rich Africans. He mentioned Mo Ibrahim in particular. He said, think we have enough rich Africans to put money into, you know, into education, into scholarships.
In fund, yeah.
You understand? Just like US, all these universities that you're talking about are doing.
Yes, I agree. Both locally,
you know, rather than just waiting for
internationally.
Yeah,
I agree.
exactly.
And I think I had mentioned to you, like in one of the things you didn't mention is even in Nigeria, like there's Edward Consulting, like we partner with like there's an organization called Dolly Children Foundation, and they provide like free tuition school to out of school kids in Ogun State, and like it's something where like we pay the salary of a teacher every month, no matter the money, whether there's money or no money. I'm sure my accountant is tired of me because it's a free tuition school. There's no money coming. There's no money coming, and these kids have to learn because a lot of these kids were out of school on the road. So I really believe that investing in education, like on the ground and outside, because sometimes some of the things and the solutions and mindset that are going to make change here comes from exposure that people might not be able to get in this kind of society. And that's the truth.
I totally agree.
So it is a combined thing where like we are really still trying, like, how can we help do more for Africans on the ground? And that's where like that Dolly Children, the other guy I talked about come into play. But I feel like there needs to be a education fund locally and internationally for people that deserve it, have shown up for themselves. And just need someone to show up for them.
Fantastic. There's one more thing, sorry, that I wanted to ask. I know that they say that we shouldn't ask women their age, but I'm going to ask you your age. The reason I'm asking that is because you've achieved quite a lot in your relatively young years, and if you don't mind, there's something that I would like to mention in the article. Because I think that there are a lot of young
I don't
people
like
out
this
there
because I just turned a certain age. I would have preferred the other age. I don't like this. And I prefer the other age to this new age.
Let's use the old age then.
Like I said, the reason is
no. My mom will be so confused. She'll be like, am I not calculating properly? I'm like, don't worry, it's my football age. Yeah. How old
because the reason I'm saying that is because there are a lot of young Nigerians who will be highly inspired that somebody of your age has been able to achieve so much. You understand? It just speak to a lot of people. So that's why I said, I'm not meant to ask your age, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Or we could if you're not comfortable with that.
No, I'm okay with my age.
Okay.
I look younger than I am, so I'll take it any day. So it's okay. Okay. I get into some Uber. They say, "How do you want to be when you grow up?" And I answer them too. Yes, I want to be this. So that's the question they asked me. Who am I to question their judgment? Yeah. So I turned 34 in September.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Excellent.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, the truth is that looking at how much you've done up to now, it's massive.
Mm-hmm.
It's massive.
It is.
It's massive.
It's not really commensurate to the age at all.
A whole lot of people are just getting started about 40.
It's true.
Yeah.
They are just getting started about. I know quite a number of people within this education space. I've been on this journey for, say, over 10 years, in terms of education, space management and all of that. And I know a number of people that I've come in contact with, and they are still trying to find their feet at, about 40. Yeah. So I must
Thank you. I'll give it to my parents. They were pretty exceptional. Yes. And it wasn't pressure from them. It's just when you grow up with excellence and you see quality, I think that I would never compromise quality, right? So that quality of if I give my word, I'm going to do something, I will do it at whatever cost it would take me, right? Because my word, I'm only as good as my word. So if I say I'm going to show up, I'm going to show up. So if I'm not doing, I'm not doing. Like I've started to say no because I can't do it again. So,
also,
that's an excellent attitude. Yeah.
Also,
excellent. I'm going to say one other thing. My wife is also an Ife babe as well. She's actually from Ife, so I was going to mention that as well.
Yes, so I was born there. Ife. It's even on my passport. Although my mom is originally from Calabar, and so my Calabar name is Umbang. Okay. It's on my passport. That's the worst comment. I did Bimpe bearing Umbang. I'm like, God. And after they ask you that, happy Sunday, I said, God, why is this passport? Why is this on my passport?
To me, God. I think it complements your story. It complements your other names. If you ask me, there's nothing like being well-rounded.
Yeah.
If you ask me, there's nothing like having that part. I didn't even know that you didn't. I mean, it wasn't part of the conversation. So, but here you are saying
my mom is very Yoruba. You never know if not for her names, and we call her like placed identity because she'll say, those people in the south. Hey, your people.
I don't met your mom. I've not met your mom, but I told her about the review meeting we were having in-house earlier today. Seeing your mom's picture is like, wow. This is Mama Care.
Yeah. So she grew up in Abeokuta, speaks Efik fluently, speaks Yoruba fluently, and also she was dean of Ogun State University. Doesn't get more Yoruba than that. So when you're on a team and most of your staff they're speaking Yoruba or more, your Yoruba will be good.
You have no choice.
But it's always been really good. So you won't know, and she's confused about identity. So we make jokes. Okay, I guess you married into South, so you are now Ekiti.
Is your father from Ekiti? Was your father Ekiti?
Yes.
Okay. Really? That's where my father is from. My late father. We're from Ekiti as well.
That's where you're
Okay.
from. Instead of you are from Ekiti.
Yes, that's where I'm from, and that's where my
Yeah.
mom finally ended up. She's at Afe Babalola now, the university. She's the provost of
Really?
the pharmacy department. Yes. So
That's
at
good, because
70,
I've been
at
looking to
70,
how
when
to
she
connect to Abibalola.
eh,
So,
yes, she's the provost of pharmacy. She at 70, we're like, finally you're going to retire. I was like,
70. Wow.
they told me that they have a new job for me. They kept it. My mom and work. It's terrible.
That's what you're saying. Your mom can work. You too, go. Where did you
Yes,
get it
I
from?
agree, and I reject it to be like that. I reject it because a
Yeah.
couple of times she has told me, she has said, Bimpe, you worked so hard. When she said that, I felt bad. I said, coming from you, that's not a compliment. If you think I worked too hard, I need to. That's not good. That's not good.
Oh God.
But yeah. So she's definitely there. So if you want any leads or any connections, I can definitely put
Excellent.
you in touch.
Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know.
She's at the pharmacy.
Excellent. And I'm half south as well. My mom was also,
Okay.
my late mom was Shekiri.
So, nice. So you're half.
Yes, it was. We're these black half castes.
Yeah, I love it.
Unlike people like us, full Ogbomoso.
Hey.
Full Ogbomoso.
But your children, Inko.
In the case, yes. So for my kids now, they're half Ogbomoso and half Okene.
Oh, nice.
So their mom is from Kogi State.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, I like that. I like that. That's a nice one. Yeah.
So really, I mean, the truth there is that that's why I see whenever they say one Nigeria, it's not for the selfish interest of so many of our politicians when they say it. One Nigeria, we go on one Nigeria, it's one Nigeria, unity, I would say that they're not always sincere. But you see, from conversations like this is where one Nigeria truly exists, because for you to be able to go across borders and be able to draw relationship and start a family, and I mean, just with it between my own family and my wife's family, we are almost across the country in terms of relationships. She's got in-laws from the east,
Wow. I love it.
Everybody is everywhere.
Yeah.
So when we come together, everybody's from everywhere. So it's getting more interesting. So we can always have this conversation, can continue like this all night. I can see. we planned for 30 to 45 minutes. Right now we've gone past 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
So, and I must say that I really enjoyed myself. We really enjoyed everything you have said. We've learned a lot, and again, I've found my half sister from somewhere. Bimpe, lastborn.
Yes, feel free to use my full name, so my mom won't say I've abandoned my name, even though professionally I'm just bearing Bimpe these days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think it's only my dad that used to call me Bimpe, so it's a bit weird.
Really?
When I also hear Bimpe, it's very official. It's usually like school, because you have to put it, your passport. So I don't know. Like when people say Bimpe, I always feel like I'm not at ease, right? But both work. I think my full name instead. That works too. Yeah.
Awesome. Then as a follow-up to this, also, I'll be getting your contacts from that call to basically,
I was going to mention, because I don't have the number.
Okay. Yes. He just has my email. Let me drop my number in the chat.
Okay.
I think I've given you mine. Awesome. I think I sent you mine.
I'll put mine there as well, so that we can all lift it from there.
Okay.
I think I've sent you mine before.
Yes, you have. Yeah. I have yours. I think on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn, yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay.
Awesome.
I'll save yours.
Awesome. So I hope you don't charge too much, Bimpe.
Don't worry, you're now family, so
We're family. Thank you so.
you're now
Saying
family.
that alone is actually just give me so much joy.
They are family, and as the Bible says, ask and you shall receive. I'm a big believer of asking.
Amen.
This life, if anything is above me, I'm like, okay, how far? Where can we meet? There's always that room. But yeah, definitely, yes, that will not be a problem. I don't ever want cost to be a barrier. So
awesome. Thank
always
you so
try and figure out a way around this that is convenient for everyone, regardless.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So, all right. So it's
thank you so much for
past 8.
Yes.
So thank you and
thank you.
have a very beautiful evening.
All right. Thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Bye.
This was
Bye. Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Wonderful evening. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.